Alright, so I got the 2014 Monster Manual as a early birthday gift. And I was looking through it. This thing's got ogres, wyverns, giants and awful flesh monsters, dragons, and even stuff I'd never even heard of until I got this book. Along with some definite Gooner bait devil art and dinosaurs. However, there's only 6 dinosaurs. 2, if you include this line about how some ankylosaurs have spiked tails that deal piercing damage. But I think that's because they didn't want to make another stat block, as there's not really much separating an ankylosaur and a stegosaur mechanically. And I know there's a supplemental material, Dr. Drolin's Dictionary of Dinosaurs, but I don't have that kind of money. Also, I have all you lovely people I need to make content for. So if you enjoyed this type of thing, leave a like and subscribe, and let's get into the video. As I turn these basic 5 dinosaurs into a new prehistoric menagerie you can use in your adventures. I will be linking a Google Doc. I'll try to format it as close as it is formatted in the 5th edition book, but and it's completely for free. Just by watching this video and liking and enjoying this video, you've done enough. So enough of me yapping, let's get into the dinosaurs. The first dinosaur we'll be improving, which isn't really a dinosaur, is the Plesiosaurus. So, first things, what are we gonna fix? We're gonna get rid of that land speed, as Plesiosaurus probably couldn't support itself very well out of the water. Lipleurodon definitely could not. Other than that, just increase the animal's health calculation by 10 and increase this bite damage to be 4d6 plus 8. So that way we actually get a good aquatic predator. And other than that, there's not really much we have to change for a Plesiosaur to be a Lipleurodon. I know damn well that there's more separating Plesiosaurus and Lipleurodon than just some health and a stronger bite. But none of them are really mechanical. Also, I know I've depicted the Lipleurodon lunging out of the water to eat this Minotaur. It's still technically in the water, and it's within its bite range to grab the Minotaur. Finally, actually talking about dinosaurs now, we're going to be turning the Allosaurus into a Eutyrannus. So I think what I am going to do is beef up the bite damage to be 2d12 plus 5, axing the claw and pounce attack. And then because Eutyrannus likely lived in a snowy environment and is one of the few large dinosaurs preserved with feathers, we're going to give it the snow camouflage that the Yeti has, and then we're going to give it a resistance to cold damage. For our next new dinosaur, we will be using and discussing everyone's 2 favorite giant theropods, Spinosaurus and T-Rex. So in order to make the Spinosaurus different from the T-Rex, we are A, going to lower its health, B, lower its land speed, C, increase its water speed, and D, change up how it fights. So for example, the T-Rex has a multi-attack, where it can make 1 bite and 1 tail whip, but they must be on different opponents. But the Spinosaurus, what we're going to do is we're going to take the bite damage and call it a claw attack, and the multi-attack equals 2 claws. But the bite will just be a weaker version of the T-Rex's tail whip, but will have a longer reach. However, if you want a super overpowered Spinosaurus like in Jurassic Park 3, you don't have to implement these nerfs. You can just update the swim speed, give it more health, don't change the damages, give it better stats than the already ridiculous T-Rex. But what I just laid out and what I'm going to be linking in the description will be a sort of scientifically balanced Spinosaurus. These next 2 dinosaurs are the only ones I don't really have toys for, so I can't do like photography with them in my backyard or in my house or with some minis. So deeply sorry for that. But You can take the Triceratops and change its damage to bludgeoning, and you get a Pachyrhinosaurus. I would recommend lowering its health though, because there is a bit of a size difference. However, a Pachyrhinosaurus, especially like a woolly one, would be really cool in like a snow campaign with Yetis and the Eutyranus. This very last segment is again returning to non-dinosaurs, as we will be kind of getting a 2-for-1 out of this. We're going to take the Pteranodon and just pump its stats. Just pump it up. And out of that, we're going to get the Quetzalcoatlus. And I know this isn't a reflection of real paleontological science, but if you reflavor the pumped up beak stat as a bite, you could get like the giant Ornithorhynchus from Walking with Dinosaurs. Now you could do that with the regular Pteranodon and get like a regular sized Tropiognathus. However, I love the idea of a giant toothed pterosaur along with a giant toothless pterosaur. And yeah, so it's a very simple way to make a bigger pterosaur, but it's the best way. Just pump up the Pteranodon. So that's all of the new dinosaur species I've created for today. However, stick around a little bit as I do want to talk a little bit more about this. I have never made Dungeons and Dragons content or content adjacent to Dungeons and Dragons. However, I have been playing it for a little over a year, and I've been watching Dungeon Tube for a little while. And you know what? I really enjoyed making this video. I loved doing the toy photography around my house. I loved building the little pterosaur set piece out of Jenga blocks. And you know what? This sort of homemade monster thing is the type of content that I've enjoyed watching. It's the type of thing I've enjoyed doing even without making content off of it. And you know what? I really like the sort of vibe of making this homemade, scraped together type of Dungeons and Dragons content. And I know most people, they want like these professionally done maps and props, but whenever I host a Dungeons and Dragons night, we make the map and the terrain out of stuff around the house. Like using those Jenga blocks, it's not the first time I've done this, it probably won't be the last. So all the creatures, their stat blocks will be linked in the description. And if you saw anything in this video, feel free to use it. And that's all I got for y'all today. Have a great one.